Hey everybody, Justin here doing another video for Morning Truck Ministry. Uh, it's been a couple weeks, the holidays were a little crazy, and then my grandma passed away, so I had the funeral and all that. So now we're back into the Bible, back into the book, and I was actually going through the 4 books, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because I was trying to find a parable that I could talk about today. But instead I came across this little gem, and I think it's important, and I love the message that it brings. So that's what I'm going to do today. For those who have a Bible that want to look through it and read along with me, it's going to be Matthew 7, verses 24 through 27. It's titled, Build Your House on the Rock. So I'm going to read through it like I always do. Read through it and then kind of break it down. Build your house on the rock. Everyone, then, who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. But it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. All right? That one's short, sweet, and to the point. Before I get into the biblical aspect of it, let's talk about building a house. All right, everybody knows that the most important part when it comes to building a house, if you want it to stand through storms and rain and all that sort of stuff, is the foundation. The foundation is the most important part, right? We're not going to build a house on sand because it has nothing structurally to hold it together and keep it from falling down. We build it on something strong, and here the analogy is the rock. Obviously, nowadays most people would say like concrete, something like that. You need something sturdy and strong that's going to be just stabilize the house that's built on top of it. Okay, that's kind of common sense to most of us, but if you didn't read the Bible, you wouldn't know why that's so important for our relationship with Jesus Christ. So we build our house on the rock. We build our foundation. Our foundation needs to be in Jesus Christ, right? Because what did it say there? It said when the storms came, when the floods came, when rains came, right? So it's telling you already that you're going to have adversity in life. It's going to happen. There's nobody who lives their life without some sort of adversity. But how do we stand tall in the face of that adversity? It comes down to what our foundation is built on. Now, if we build our foundation on Jesus, it's telling us that no matter how bad the rain gets, how bad the storm gets, that we're going to be okay, that our house is going to still stand tall. Will there be some sort of structural damage at times? Yes, like windows breaking, stuff like that. And of course, this is still just an analogy. Windows can break, the foundation can't control the entirety. However, it minimizes the damage, and you can still rebuild and fix that structure so long as the foundation stays intact. That's important. And I think our actions in life will reveal what our foundation is really built in. One person that I'm going to mention, and I'll say his name publicly and I don't care, is Joel Osteen. The guy's net worth is $100 million. I did a little research on him yesterday because I was curious. The Bible in many instances says that you can only serve one master, right? It doesn't say, and that's misunderstood, it doesn't say that money is the root of all that is evil. It says that love of money is the root of all that's evil. If at this point, I would have to argue that Joel is probably serving his money. He's amassed a great amount of wealth for preaching the gospel. And that's not to say that his words that he spoke aren't true, aren't good, but his motives aren't true and aren't good at this point. If he's able to amass $100 million and he's not doing something with that money to help, I would have to say that he's probably serving that money more than he's serving his God. You don't have to agree with me. That's just my opinion on him. But, you know, we have to build our foundation around the gospel, right? We have to be reading the Bible. We have to be trying to better understand what Jesus wants from us. We have to be growing every single day in our relationship with Jesus Christ. You know, our foundation needs to be built in Jesus. If we want to be able to stand against storms, if we want to be able to face the adversities that life is going to throw at us, our foundation has to be built in Jesus. Because if it's not built in Jesus, when that storm comes or when trouble happens, we will turn our gazes upon other things. You know, we'll start to think that, oh, well, you know, I'm financially struggling right now, so I need to worry about hustling more money. I need to worry about that. That's got to be my main focus. You know, that's a dangerous territory to be in. You know, we're always like, oh, well, you know, God, if I had more money, I could serve you better. Or God, if I had this, I could serve you better. Or God, if I had that, I could serve you better. The truth is that we're all capable of serving God. It doesn't matter what our financial status is. It doesn't matter the things we own. It doesn't matter the house, the yard, all those things are just things, you know. God is greater than all those things. You know, and for some of us, I think we need to stop telling God how big our problems are and start telling our problems how big our God is. You know, I'm not afraid of facing adversity in my life because I know where my foundation is. My foundation is in Jesus Christ. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to make mistakes. It doesn't mean that I get it right all the time. For example, my last video I did, although I thought it was insinuated, I have to remember that I have I might have people that are watching these videos that are still learning about their faith and still growing in their faith. So in my last video, I said that we aren't accountable for our actions. And I didn't expand on that. In that section, I didn't expand on it. The truth is that we are accountable for our actions. We're still going to be judged by them. But so long as we have a relationship with Jesus Christ and we're striving every day, that those actions are going to be okay. Yes, we're still accountable to them, but like I said in that video, there will be people who do good works who will not enter the kingdom of heaven, and people that have done less good works that do, because it does boil down to having a relationship with Jesus Christ. That is the key to ascending to heaven. So we gotta check ourselves. What is our foundation in? You know, right now, if we're worried about how I'm gonna hustle up more money, or worried about this job, and you know, it's the most important thing because it takes care of me, or you know, the insurance, or this and that, and we get so wound up in these sorts of things that we're proving that our foundation isn't in Jesus Christ. You know, a lot can be said about that with politics as well. You know, and the day that I hear somebody bring politics into any church that I'm attending, I will get up and I will walk out. You know, if somebody were to say we need to pray for President Trump to make sure that he stays in office because that's God's will, I'm probably going to get up and walk out of that church because it doesn't have a place there. Even though I would prefer that Trump would stay in office, God is greater than those things. God is more important than those things, and we have to place him first. You know, our foundation can't be built on our politics. Our foundation can't be built on our racial demographic, our foundation can't be built on what state we're from, what football team, what sports, what TV shows, or anything like that. You know, there's people that'll get all decked out in their sports team's gear. And I'm wearing an Ohio State hat, so obviously I'm an Ohio State fan. But will you wear a shirt that glorifies God? Will you wear a hat that glorifies God? I mean, I think a lot of people already know, and I'll show you. I got Romans 1:16 on this hand, and I got Proverbs 16:9 on this hand. So those are permanent fixtures for me. I am not ashamed. I'm not afraid to glorify God and to let people see that I am a Christian and that God is the most important thing to me. I have to place God above everything. That includes God coming over your family. And I think a lot of people would be like, oh, well, that's not right. You know, you don't place your spouse at a lesser level than God. Yes, you do. You really do. Because if your spouse, let's say they're not growing spiritually with you at the same level, are you going to backtrack your faith in God so that you can stay at the same level as your spouse? Or are you going to stay close to God and pray for that spouse? You know, our foundation has to be set specifically in our love for Jesus Christ, our relationship with Jesus Christ, and trying to grow with Him every day. Even if that goes against what society expects of us, we have to do it. We don't stand with this world, we stand with God. I would rather be judged by this world for standing with God than judged by God for standing with this world. Which, I took that line from God's Not Dead 2. Melissa Joan Hart says that. Anyways, that's not the point. Wherever you can hear a good word that helps you grow spiritually, it can't be all that bad. So I think it's important to ask ourselves and stop at times, like, what is my foundation built in? Is it built in Jesus Christ? And even when we say yes to that, we have to say after that, okay, what am I doing that proves that? What am I doing that shows that my foundation is built in Jesus Christ? It's easy to say something. It's a lot harder to show the action behind it, you know? It's, I heard this, and it's in another fellowship that I attend, where it says, 2 frogs were sitting on a log. One made a decision to jump off. How many were on the log? Well, 2. One of them just made a decision. It doesn't mean that they put any action behind it, right? We got to put the action behind what we say. So if we say that we're built in Jesus Christ, and that's our foundation, then there's some things that we have to do that show that that's true. What are we doing every day? Are we more worried about that job than we are about reading through the Bible? Are we more focused on trying to understand politics than we are trying to understand the Word? You know, I just ordered myself a study Bible, and I've talked to a couple people about kind of going through it with them. Not to guide them, because that's, you know, I don't think that's my role. My role is to try and understand better. You know, we need different perspectives, I think, to understand the Bible. I can't read through something and only take my perspective on it. It's important to hear what other people think, and what other people kind of take from that context. You know, if I could read through the Bible and understand it completely, I don't know. I think it would be a little bit narcissistic to think that I could do that. So I got to hear a different perspective. But anyways, that was my topic for today. I know I went kind of long-winded with it. I thought it was going to be shorter than it was, but I think it's important that we check ourselves. You know, 2 questions that I have to ask myself every single day. Is my foundation of my life built in Jesus Christ so that I can stand through the storms and stand through the rains and stand through any sort of adversity that is coming my way. And then the second question is, am I showing that? Are my actions proving that? You know, do my actions prove it to be true, or do my actions show that I'm really not? That's all I have for today. Stay covered, my friends. Stay blessed. I love you all. Have a beautiful day.